Welcome back to State of Decay 2 after the heart attack update and all the other updates. We're back here in my Lethal Zone community, and we've got a goal, which is we've been killing plague hearts, and I want to get all of the sweet, delicious treasures out of their gullets. So we're going to go over here. We're going to rob some plague hearts. We're going to. Oh, I left a new impaler over there. I forgot about that. Huh. Well, maybe I should bring a car I don't care very much about and drop it off here and swap it for my new impaler. I think that I called that impaler in when I got into trouble when I was fighting that plague heart, and then ended up getting away in a different way. Though I don't. It looks like it's full of fuel. I don't know what kind of condition it's in. Then we got an army checkpoint to loot, and then ultimately we could probably kill another plague heart if we want to. So if we've got a particularly successful expedition, that's what we will have done. So I'm going to be playing Dave here. This is my buddy Dave. He's a pretty decent character. The thing that I noticed down here was that he's got hygiene, which gives him plus 50 infection resistance. And actually, he gives the entire community plus 50 infection resistance, which I had actually forgotten we had. So probably some of the surviving that we've been doing so far has been down to Dave without me even realizing it. That actually made me think a little bit about what other advantages I could kick in. Like here in the infirmary, for instance, I can kick in primary care, which reduces plague infection. You'll notice that those are two different stats. So the way that State of Decay 2 works under the hood, we've got, what am I trying to say? We've got this system of buffs that we can use to sort of make any part of the game alter any stat. And so we set it up that way so that we didn't have to do a bunch of work. Like each time I implement a new facility, we have to go through and like make it able to augment your health or make it able to augment your infection resistance. We don't have to do that every single time because we've got a centralized buff system where every attribute that is buffable or debuffable in the game it is kept in a central place and defined in a central place. And so if a facility or a skill or a trait or a curveball wants to mess with one of those attributes, they just do it in a central place using really similar language. And so that means that, I've got a character who's got traits and skills, for instance, like, we got plus 35% search speed, minus 40% consumable weight, plus 17% blade lethality, minus 80% firearm recoil. All of these different things, they are, defined in a central place. And so actually, when we made the assault skill, we didn't have to write plus 50% ammo stack size, minus 80% firearm recoil. That stuff automatically happened. As soon as we assigned the buff to that skill, to that level of that skill, and basically just made that connection, all of the text, everything was taken care of by itself, which means that that we were able to sort of centrally define the language that we use to describe buffs. So for example, when I look at hygiene and I see plus 50 infection resistance, you notice there's no percentage there, and it's called infection resistance. That is a completely different thing from what the infirmary does with its minus 45% plague infection. So minus 45 plague infection reduces the amount of infection damage that is coming in to the character by nearly half. Ranithcord, before we started the episode, pointed out that that used to be 50%, but that meant that if you got that same buff from two sources, it would be minus 100% plague infection, and you would be completely immune to the plague, which is a little further than we wanted that to go. But that's plague infection. Infection resistance is a completely different stat. What infection resistance does is, imagine, actually, I guess I don't have it right now because my character hasn't taken any infection damage. But, down there where they will stick where the infection meter appears, it's like that when you gain infection resistance, it's like that meter gets longer. There's more increments in it, so it takes more hits to bring it down. I actually originally intended for that meter to physically get longer, so you could visibly tell when you were buffed and when you weren't. We didn't end up getting that feature in the UI, but that was what the intent was. The same with your health and your stamina bars get longer as your health and your stamina go up. The infection meter was meant to do the same thing, so you could see who was more or less vulnerable to the plague. But it's interesting talking about, basically, when you're buffing the amount of damage that comes in, or debuffing the amount of damage that comes in, or buffing or debuffing the amount of resistance you have, technically that's the same thing, right? Like, if I reduce the damage that's incoming or I increase the resistance, technically both of them mean I live longer. And so why do we have both? Like, why bother having both? A lot of the time, what you want to do is not have both. Like when you're designing a buff system, a lot of the time what you want to do is say, you know, I'm just going to pick one of these. We're going to do that one, and we're not going to do anything else. You know, I think I'm going to grab this Vagabond and drive it up north and just leave it behind and swap it out for another Impaler. So that is what, because, you know, that's certainly simpler for players to figure out. And that's one of the motivations you usually have. Actually, let me bring a repair kit with me just in case, unless there's one already in the back here. There is not. Oh, is there one in the back of this Impaler? Nope. Okay, we're going to go get one. Just in case the Impaler over there got damaged in the fight where I acquired it. I don't know if that happened or not, but want to be safe. Anyway, so one reason is just stuff that you learn in math. We're basically... So, Ranithcord talked about the fact that when you have, you know, negative 50% infection... what was it called again? Like here we've got the negative 45% plague infection. So minus 45% plague infection. Back when that was minus 50% plague infection, if we got that twice, plague infection would be reduced to 0. And then that's it. You know, like there is no more plague infection. That was something we didn't want. And so we actually had to consciously reduce this so that you couldn't stack it up that way. And we consciously also reduced made sure that we only had a couple of places that even used this buff, so you couldn't stack too many on top of itself because it could reduce it to 0. However, infection resistance cannot reduce it to 0 because instead of, you know, decreasing the amount of damage, which can be reduced to 0, you're increasing the amount of resistance you have, which you can just keep increasing it all day, and eventually the zombies will be able to wear it down. And so, you know, each additional, you know, a value you add to it kind of has almost like diminishing returns, basically. Because, you know, because basically it's almost like, it's not quite like Zeno's paradox, but it's like you're never quite getting to 0. You're just making it harder and harder and harder for zombies to do it. And so having two different stats like this makes a difference because, you know, with this one, the minus 45 plague infection, what we're trying to do is get a really dramatic effect that is the same for every single character. And so it's a community-wide buff that affects everybody, and we want it to be the same. Whereas infection resistance is one that, you know, in this particular case, you know, it's being applied to everyone, so it's not individual, but it could be individual. And there are certain traits and things that do make a character have individual increased infection resistance, but it can stack endlessly. I don't have to worry about whether this guy's got hygiene and another trait and somebody else has hygiene. Like, I don't have to worry about how many characters have hygiene in my community, because even though it's powerful to have a lot of characters with hygiene, it doesn't ever, no matter how much you stack it up, it never reduces it to 0. And so you can get characters min-maxing, your players min-maxing like crazy, and it doesn't break the game. It doesn't, like, remove Blood Plague as a concern. And so that's something, like, when you're a systems designer, that's something you think about a lot, is how can I set up the math so that, you know, when the plan reaches the enemy, when players are actually using this system, all of their tendencies to min-max and exploit and everything, they're not able to break the system because the math works out in favor of the system no matter what they do. So Covolucion says, I remember when I told you about the plague immunity exploit, and you didn't believe it was true. Yeah, I'm not surprised I didn't believe you, because I set up the skills and the traits, but Brian Giammi set up the facilities. And so in all of the places where I was messing with infection resistance, I was using the infection resistance stat. When I was messing with the plague, I was using the infection resistance stat, which means I knew that there was that I could stack that stuff infinitely, and it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't break the game. However, I didn't know that Brian had used the other stat, the inverse stat, where he was reducing the damage. And so that, you know, because he felt safer using that because he knew he could control how many of each facility somebody had. You know, you could only have one infirmary and one field hospital, which are the two things that you could stack. And he hadn't even thought about the fact that you could have both in the same community. And so he was confident enough that, like, yeah, I can control, I knew that with traits and skills, I couldn't control how many of any of them players had. They could just stack them, not endlessly, but they could stack a lot of them up. And so I had to use safer stats. He didn't feel the same need. So when you told me about that exploit, my initial reaction was, I mean, I don't remember that specifically, but that reaction you're describing, oh crap, sounds like the kind of reaction I would have, because, okay, good, it looks like I don't need to repair it. Because I was so, like, convinced, basically, that I had engineered this in such a way that we were not going to have that, we were not going to incur that problem. But I didn't know how Brian had done his side of it. So it turned out that actually it wasn't as clean as I thought. Okay, so I've got a lot that I'm carrying right now. My intent was actually to use a lot of this equipment while I was out and then replace the spots in my inventory with the treasures that I was grabbing. Also, I think I was originally planning on bringing a car with a bigger trunk. So we'll drop that in there, but let's... Originally, I was going to say, let's... Okay, he's got assault. Dang. I was going to say, let's fight the Plague Heart last. But actually, I think I need to go through some of my equipment before I can, like, collect stuff from these Plague Hearts. So I should greet some folks in my chat. Peroxicus is here, and thank you for showing up. Sorry I couldn't... So originally I told Peroxicus I was probably going to start this around 2 o'clock, but then, you know, as usual, schedule shenanigans, it didn't work out. So it's closer, it's after 3 now, but I'm glad you were able to make it. SXO is here as well, so is Orthaus. Oh, and Viviatelier is here. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I didn't know how French to assume that was. I have been trying to brush up on my French lately. I even, when I played Jusant earlier today, I even did the intro in French. Not the best French, I imagine, but some kind of French anyway. Okay. So this is where the Plague Heart is. Ooh. Okay, wait. For a second I thought it might be in a shed, but I don't think it is. It's in the house. Yeah, it's in the house. Okay, so we've got the car for me to escape to when I'm ready. One thing I'm thinking of doing, I've got some whistling box mines. I need to kill some zombies. I need to kill some zombies anyway. Oh, look, it's whistling, it's whistling. The zombies that aren't aggroed on me should get attracted to it. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to kill any. Especially, oh, a lot of these zombies are just really attracted to me already. So maybe it's not going to kill any zombies. I've got this active bounty right now, which is killing zombies with explosives. Okay, yeah, so it killed 3 zombies. That wasn't a lot. Oh, hey, guys. Oh, oh gosh, oh, gosh, oh, gosh. Oh, okay, I should have brought some flashbangs or something to, like, distract these guys. Yeah, they're just chasing me. This whistling box mine, botch mine, that's what it is. It's a botch mine, because I'm messing up. Okay, I got another 1 zombie. Okay, I should have brought more stamina stuff. I've only got the 1. But, oh, hi, everybody. So I'm just trying to do this as non-riskily as possible. There we go. That was fun. So I've got a bunch of pipe bombs. I'd love to just gather up... Nope, get off me. Gather up a bunch of zombies. Hit them with a pipe bomb. It's really hard to catch them out in the open. Well, not that hard. Alright. Let's hit this a couple of times. Oh, no, stop it. Stop it. Oh, dang it.
Okay, I think it's on the roof.
Okay, get up, get off, get off. Okay. I genuinely have no idea which health tier we're on with this plague heart. I'm down to pipe bombs as far as my consumables go. I don't have powerhouse, so I'm not able to charge up the super attack on this thing. There we go. Plague heart destroyed.
That means we can start securing this area.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I've got assault kick. Stop it. Just. Oh, come on. Fine. You want to be hit in the face? You get hit in the face. This is what you get for dodging bullets. Oh, crap. I'm actually kind of surprised I didn't get one of those guys earlier. Okay, come here. Come on. You know what you want to. Yeah, there you go. All right, anybody else gonna give me a problem as I'm trying to get in this car? So, okay, a lot of these guys, they took some damage from my explosives. That's why they're... Oh, man, I could have gotten so much credit for this bounty if these guys had actually died. This is actually the biggest problem with bounties about explosives, is that you often will hit a bunch of zombies, but you won't actually kill the zombies. Okay, so normally there's actually so many zombies around after I defeat one of these plague hearts, I can't even do this. But it looks like we're actually doing okay here. Good. We got some more stamina. I think I'll save the rest of the stuff for... We'll do a sweep later on with a larger cargo container here. With a larger, with a vehicle with more cargo space. For right now, the main thing I'm after is the rucksacks. And the other more valuable items like this JL94. Anything else I want to drop off? Wait, I can't. What am I talking about? All right, so we got the rucksack from this one. We still need to get the rucksack from this one. Yeah, so Le Coalition points out that improvised explosives are more about dismemberment. Yeah, sort of like the weaker early game explosive, things like pipe bombs. They take a zombie apart and they slow them down. They don't actually take them off the board completely. Whereas, so are you saying that in your experience, grenades and stuff are more effective? I mean, certainly fire kills zombies rather than maiming them. And but it takes longer. Like explosives just kill them outright. Whereas if they kill them at all, they kill them outright very quickly. Whereas fire, it definitely kills them every time, but it takes longer, and the zombies are still a threat to you while it's taking its time. Looks like we had a lot of friends here. Wait, I was trying to dodge! What the heck? I was hitting the B button. All right, well, this time I actually brought Cure with me, which I don't usually do. All right, guys. Let's see if I can taunt you into some spikes. Looks like no. That's fine. I've got fire. We can try that method. Look, come on, everyone. I want everyone to join in. This is a party for everybody. Spread the fire around. Share with your neighbor. that's actually one of the things you're usually doing with these fire attacks. You're not actually trying to catch all the zombies in the puddle of flame or in the initial explosion. A lot of times it's zombies passing fire to each other. That's going to be what infects the entire crowd with fire. Infects? Is that a good word for fire? What fire does? I don't think it infects. Okay, yeah, so Coalition confirms that yes, and oh, I had already taken it? Fine, whatever. He confirms that yes, I had forgotten this, but he'd already told me in the past that yeah, the military explosives are better for lethality rather than dismemberment. And I'm sure that, like, for instance, if you were listening to Brian Giammi, he probably could tell you the same thing, because he would have remembered actually making that decision. For me, who knows? What am I looking in here for? I can't carry whatever it is. Yeah, that was dumb. All right. Let's... Oh, wait. Plague samples. All right, we'll get back in the car. And then I've got room on my back still for a rucksack. So let's head over here, because this probably has a rucksack. It's an unsearched site that's got a guaranteed resource. I mostly just went this way because I saw a screamer. I don't even know if this is navigable. Oh, gosh. Okay, we do not want to... Oh, yikes. Okay. See you later. Whew, okay. There was a decent chance I was not going to get away from that feral. That feral could seriously have taken me out if I'd been unlucky. Okay, let's come over here. And see if we can get an ammo rucksack out of this place. So, Orthaus is reminding me that in real life, grenades don't cause fireballs. And so, while we're working on State of Decay 3, we should try to keep that in mind. It's tough to make a grenade convincing when players have all got experience with Hollywood, where it's like you throw like the weirdest little fragmentation explosive at something, and as a result it causes a massive fireball no matter what it is. And I think there are definitely there are games that have done a good job of that. I get the impression, for instance, Call of Duty, at least in my memory, like a fragmentation grenade causes a loud noise and a puff of smoke, a shockwave, and a lot of damage to people, but it doesn't cause a fireball. And I appreciate the fact that games like that are actually getting people used to the idea that that's actually what happens with these explosives. So yeah, I mean, I'm not in charge of the way things look, but the higher fidelity we make every part of the game, the more important it is for us to sort of not kick you out of it by messing too much with realism. It's always a sliding scale, though, right? I mean, we also don't know how to mess with the fun. And if something is just not fun to use because it doesn't look very good, we always will reserve the right to violate reality in order to make something neat. So Paroxys wants to know if I'll be playing Modern Warfare 3 on the stream, and yeah, that is my intention. I forgot, does it come out tomorrow? I forgot when it actually unlocks. I mean, I've got it installed already, and I've been trying to play the Modern Warfare 2 campaign just to sort of like prepare. Okay, I'm going to take that guy out. And maybe that'll attract the Juggernaut over. I just don't want this Juggernaut hanging out at my base. That's weird. Okay, here he comes. I'm going to want to get out of the car real fast, because I don't want him hitting the car. Nope, stop it. Come over here. Over here. Over here. What? Through a tree? That's not how things work. All right, all right. Where's the storage in this base? I want to put this thing down real quick. Storage is in the back. Okay, I'll let my friends take care of the Juggernaut, hopefully. While I deposit my ammo. And let's get my high caliber gun out. Can he enter? He can. Okay. Oh, sorry, friend, that I just shot in the head a few times. It's fine. You'll be fine. There we go. Oh. Okay, you guys just deal with any ads that come in. I'm going to drop some stuff off. So don't need that anymore. I can save these for the next character. That goes away, that goes away, that goes away. This and that. All right. And now let's go park this new car in a more useful spot. And we'll drop these things off. I think we've dropped off all the stuff we needed to drop. So let's come inside where we're a little bit safer. And I'm going to catch up with a bunch of chat stuff that I missed. Bunch of chat that I missed. Let's see here. Okay, for some reason, Coalition and Orathaus are both shouting the word spread at me several minutes ago. And I'm not sure why. Is it because I was missing zombies with my gun? And they were complaining about the spread on my crosshair? Or was it something else? I'm not sure. Let's see here. Okay, I caught Brox's question about Call of Duty. So yeah, basically I play... Every year when Call of Duty comes out, I play Call of Duty for a little while, and I'll usually do like 2 or 3 streams where I'm playing multiplayer, and I'm not very impressive, because a lot of people who stream Call of Duty, they're streaming it because they are very, very good at the game, and they're fairly reliably dominating whatever match they go into. I have some good matches and some bad matches, so I do. It's not like I'm just getting worked every time. I'm not just cannon fodder, but also... I'm not the guy who just goes in there and reliably just dominates every match. Like I'm just sort of I'm an okay player who has a good time playing the game, and that's about as far as it goes for me. So, but it's still fun for me. And I really like Call of Duty just as the game's got a good feel. It's got a good vibe. I like the really low time to kill. I like sort of the way that the weapons feel. Like it's my favorite shooter in terms of just feeling right to me as a player. People have a lot of different tastes about that kind of stuff. So, people are good. Your mileage may vary, but that's the one that vibes with me. Yeah, so Mr. Barbecue, we were talking about grenades. He was like, yeah, we are so used to Hollywood grenades that explode and cause a ton of damage. Yeah, and sometimes they get ridiculous about it, right? Somebody will, throw one grenade into something, and it will just cause, some kind of chain reaction that makes an entire huge thing explode. And I'm like, yeah, chain reactions exist and stuff, but, come on. Usually a grenade is not going to just destroy an entire building or something. It'll just, it'll do some serious harm to a bunch of people that are nearby. And that's usually it. That's usually the extent of it. Oh, it's when I was talking about fire. That's right. When I was talking about fire infecting other zombies, they were saying the word spread because... that's the word I should have used. Fire spreads from one zombie to another. And it really does too. It was interesting because there was a point where where that bit was made true for the very first time. For a while during development, when fire would land, it would just spread and make a puddle. It would get up onto walls and it would set zombies on fire from the initial explosion, and then that was it. And actually, one of the ways that I believe it was Gronk that did this, was able to make fire a more useful, more powerful weapon, was to make fire spread from zombie to zombie. And so that way, if you missed a zombie slightly, or your Molotov landed a little in front or a little behind, it wouldn't just be useless against the nearby zombies. As long as the zombies are packed into a crowd, you would get the whole crowd, even if your aim was just a little bit off. And so it made them a more reliable, more powerful weapon. And once it was implemented that way, everybody really liked the change. So if I'm remembering that right. I could, maybe he did it that way from the very beginning and I just forgot. But I had it in my head that there was a particular time where Gronk was like, look, it spreads now. And it worked really well. Let's see here. Yeah, so Orthaus emphasizes that frag grenades are an anti-personnel weapon. They're not a high explosive. You would not throw a grenade at a tank and expect that to do anything. Because basically, throwing when you're throwing a frag grenade at something, what you're throwing is basically a little gun that lands and then fires tiny bullets in every direction, tiny low caliber bullets in every direction, and which is very effective against personnel. But anything that's resistant to bullets is also going to be resistant to grenades. It's just, and so like if you can't shoot a gun at a tank and take it down, you also cannot throw a grenade at a tank and take it down. You could throw a grenade inside a tank and it's going to wreak havoc inside the tank. Just like getting into a tank and firing a gun in every direction would wreak havoc in the tank. But you're not going to get through a bunch of armor with it or anything like that. So the tank in my chat is like, hey, leave me alone. Stop blowing me up. So the tank says, my buddy and I used to play COD Black Ops, and one night we were eating peanuts and noticed that we would get killed and eat the peanuts, and realized we were conditioning ourselves to lose. So basically, because whenever you got killed, that would free your hands up for a second to have a snack, and so you were actually like in a Pavlovian sense, rewarding yourself for death. That is pretty. Yeah. So exactly. So you needed to have like something sweeter and better for you, and every time you get a kill, you get to have like an M&M or something like that. Then that works in your favor. Let's see here. What? So okay, look how a listener just throws dad jokes at me all the time, and I don't even get them half the time. But it's great. So he's giving me advice for cooking on my car. So cooking on your car, I think, is probably a thing that works more often in Mexico, where you're from, than up here in Seattle. We only have a few weeks out of the year that actually gets hot enough that you could cook on the surface of your car, and maybe not even then. We got to get down to Arizona near the border before it actually starts getting hot, that hot, that regularly to talk about cooking on your car. All right, and JD Gamer Q showed up. Hello, JD Gamer Q. So since we got some new people showing up in the chat, I should probably wrap up this episode and start a new one so we can actually see some gameplay. So there is a subscribe button and link to the next heart attack video. And right now I'm going to go and try to kill some more plague hearts, and that episode will go there. So there we go. Just a few minutes, and we'll get going.